instead of telling your team that you're going to circle back, try saying, let's sauce these nugs later.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Tuesday, June 17th, 2025. I'm J.E. Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Tass Mellis.
Fans of the best game in the world, this is for you.
Next to him, it's the bearded one, Matopsha Hot Boy, Trey Kirby.
Ayo.
Ayo. And over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is. Here we are. Hello to everybody on YouTube. Take a second, hit the like button, subscribe, share the show as well. Podcast listeners, 5-star ratings and reviews. We'll play a little true or false later in today's pod, but we start with the Game 5 recap. The Thunder, one win away from a title, led by Jalen Williams, career playoff high 40 points. OKC earned the 120-109 win against the Pacers in Game 5. OKC has a 3-2 lead here in the series. We go back to Indianapolis for Game 6 later in the week on Thursday, and this is the first time, Trey, that the Pacers have lost back-to-back games in these playoffs. But they made it a game.
Yes,
they got
they
back
did.
into it. But where do you want to start from OKC taking Game 5?
How can we not start with J-Dub? 40 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. I think they showed the graphic of his makes in the first half at halftime, and it was like the cool animated graphic where you see all the shots he made, and that's why I was like, wait a second, all of these have been layups or dunks? It felt like he was in the paint all night.
Yep.
Turns out he went 9 of 16 at the rim, and he really got started with back cuts, running in transition. Hartenstein was finding him for a couple of cuts from the slot when the Pacers just kind of lost track of him. Tough game, I think, for Aaron Nesmith in this one. He's on the receiving end of a lot of these highlights, but J-Dub was just special in this game. After he was able to get kind of unleashed, playing in transition, that's when he got into the dribble drive game.
Yep.
That's when he got into the step back jumper game, had that beautiful twisting one over Nesmith again. Just an incredible performance by this guy to really bring it when the Thunder needed it. He's got a lot of Scottie Pippen in his game. He's got the size and the versatility on defense, but I think even offensively, he plays a lot like Pippen does, running in transition. He's kind of been the point guard for the Thunder the past couple of games here, getting to the rim and finishing. I'm including his high off the glass layup as a Scottie Pippen move. Back when I was young and small, everybody in the playground, everybody in the driveway would work on shooting Scottie Pippen layups higher than the glass, or like higher than the square on the glass. You saw that from J-Dub last night in the fourth quarter. So I'm hoping Andrew Schleck's kids are out in the driveway today shooting high arcing layups like Jalen Williams, like Scottie Pippen. This was a great performance by the Thunder, like you're saying. The Pacers really got back into it in the fourth quarter. Siakam hit that 3. It's a 2-point game, and that was the TSN turning point. A 3-pointer for J-Dub, and then a tough turnover for Andrew Nembhard, which turned into a Case and Wallace dunk on the other side. That really unleashed the Thunder swarm. 4 straight turnovers on 4 straight possessions for the Pacers, and the Thunder slammed the door shut, and now they're on the verge of a championship.
Yeah, it was hilarious hearing Jalen Williams asked after the game, hey, you guys were within 2 points there in the fourth quarter. He just kind of gave a face like, what? It was a 2-point game. It didn't feel that way, I guess, until those 4 turnovers, like you said, Trey. But he got them there. They were all slashes or just sprints in that first half. That's all they were. Yep. And 3 of them, three of his first 4 baskets were from Isaiah Hartenstein. You know, a stationary Isaiah Hartenstein. Where's the basket going to come from? Well, a hustling Jalen Williams, just cutting. I mean, the first one, it was a fast break from Shea, then 3 consecutive from Hartenstein, then another sprint on a fast break from Caruso, then hanging out at the 3-point line, Lou Dort making a nice drive, set him up for a 3-ball. So those first half baskets, all assisted, all 6 of his baskets, and then the first 2 of the second half were all assisted as well. So 8 straight baskets to start this game, assists, and then the driving started, and the high bankers, they're off the wrong leg, the left leg with his left hand. He did it from the right side as well. A beautiful game from him. You called it before the series, Skeets. Is a 30-point game coming? You thought it was coming? Did you know a 40-point game was coming?
No, I don't think I would have bet on that one.
Yeah.
I felt confident about him eclipsing 30 at least once. But yeah, for him to go to the 40, and like you guys just went through, he scored in every way imaginable. Everything. The backdoor cuts, transition. He had the tough jumpers there in the second half, one on both sides going off the glass. He had that pretty fadeaway at the nail. That was a big one. Hit his threes. These silky scoop shots, these Pippen-like shots, like you said, TK. That's like his trademark now, which I'm loving. Yeah. And then he just continued to attack too and got a lot of free throws again. 9 of 12 at the free throw line. This guy's just gotten better as the entire finals has gone on. Every single game, he's added a little bit more in terms of the scoring punch, the playmaking, obviously the confidence. Now the three's starting to show up. It's like, it's very difficult. This guy is already probably coming into the finals or into the playoffs, considered one of the best second guys in the NBA, despite only being in his third year. He's already an all-star, already an all-NBA. But you just see like that second banana, second guy, second star, whatever we call them. It does truly separate like the good teams from the great ones, right? Because even if you look back at the last couple championships, it's like, okay, Jaylen Brown was that guy for Tatum. He ended up winning finals MVP for crying out loud. Jamal Murray with Jokic. Anytime Murray played like that second star, they looked unbeatable. And then even like Andrew Wiggins was like awesome in the Curry run. So you just look at the last three, and then of course you go back in history and you're talking Pippen to, Jordan. Like that's what Shea is in this. So just what a game. This guy was awesome, and he's only getting better and better. I'm sorry. I know I'm getting ahead of myself. They still got to win one more. But this big three, because I know we'll talk about Chet Holmgren too, like good luck with this, because like maybe Shea, I'm trying to think of it like, okay, is Shea at I don't know, what's Shea at in the 100% of the peak of his game? He's like in his prime here now. Is he almost maxed out? Can he get another level? I don't know. Playmaking's gotten better and all that. But look, he's like there. He's at the elite level. He's an MVP for crying out loud. But what about J-Dub and what about Chet? And I'm like, oh, they could both get better. Chet more than I think J-Dub even, but there's still room for improvement is my whole point. Scary big three.
There's no doubt. And you look at that 40-point box score and you say, well, he kind of just took it all on himself. But he was making beautiful cuts and just making the right thing, the right play the whole first half. Again, every single one of his buckets assisted. His first 8 buckets assisted. But then the skill set came over and he was doing great things. And he was the primary ball handler again to get Shea off the ball. And that was so smart for Dagnall, and it just preserved Shea for as the game went on. But when Shea saw his opportunities in fast breaks, or, when the Pacers were scrambling a little bit, he took it. Every single time. So the guy dropped 30 points.
Well, Shea had 31 points, 10 assists. He blocked 4 shots and then had a pair of steals that were a part of that massive fourth quarter run. Yeah. The thunderclap there. He got one on both, I think, Nembhard and Haliburton. So he was pretty damn good too. An MVP performance from him. But he had Pippen, outplaying. That happened from time to time in finals or playoff games. Not all that often, but I was reminded of Game 5 of the 91 NBA Finals when they closed out the Lakers. Pippen had a monster Game 5. A bit better than Jordan, arguably, in that one. Of course, MJ got the MVP, and just like Shea will, but Pippen in that one went for like 32, 13, and 7. Bunch of defensive plays. Yeah, like seriously, and that's what J-Dub did. I think the comparisons are apt. I'm sorry. I know they don't have a title yet, but those two guys, their demeanor even to some extent, it's pretty scary for the rest of the league.
Yeah, except for the Bulls were beloved. Just saying. I did like Richard Jefferson comparing J-Dub and Shea last night to LeBron and Kyrie as well, when they both had 41 in a must-win game. I thought it was pretty cool to see the change-up in the fourth quarter. It was J-Dub as the ball handler for the majority of the first 3.5 quarters, but down the stretch, Dagnall flipped things. We saw in Game 4, it was Shea setting screens for Jalen Williams to try and get Nesmith to switch so that Shea could attack him. On this one, it was J-Dub setting screens for SGA, and then when they would try to help, Shea would kick it over to Jalen Williams. Things are a little bit scrambled for the Pacers. He's able to get downhill. That was just pretty smart, because surely Indiana knew, okay, we can't play the same way if they go for the 2-man game with J-Dub handling. So let's flip it and let Shea get downhill, let him make plays. 10 assists was really big. And then, like you're saying, the defensive playmaking as well was key for this team. The game was won on the defensive end for the Thunder. I mean, incredible performances, no doubt, from J-Dub and SGA, but 23 turnovers for Indiana, and OKC this time was able to turn that into 32 points, unlike Game 1 when it was like 20 turnovers in the first half and somehow only 10 points off of turnovers. The transition game was lethal for OKC in Game 5.
Yeah, I was reminded, of Game 1 where, like you just said, all the turnovers in that one. It felt like that was the 1 out of 1,000 simulations where you give the Pacers have 20 plus turnovers and somehow they win the game. Like they pull it off with the Haliburton jumper at the end. This was one of the other 999 simulations where it's like, okay, you're going to turn it over that many times against this good Thunder team. That's usually going to be the outcome. Again, they fought like hell. We can get into the whole Haliburton injury and McConnell, and maybe Carlisle should have stuck with him or brought him back in more. But that to me was like, oh yeah, that's sort of how game one probably should have gone, and it didn't miraculously because of the dark arts from the Pacers. But yeah, that wasn't the problem here with all those turnovers, all those easy baskets that they were scoring in transition.
Yeah, watching this first quarter, I thought there's no chance the Pacers are winning this game. The way they were turning over, the way they were a little slow to get out to 3-point shooters, the way they were allowing offensive rebounds to happen, 4 offensive rebounds for the Thunder in the first quarter. And then you see the scores of game 1 at half and game 5 here at half. Game 1, it was 57-45 for the Thunder. They let her go. In game 5, it was 59-45. It was super close. But but even though we got TJ McConnell scoring 6 baskets in the third quarter himself, and Pascal Siakam after a slow start having that fourth quarter where he had 5 baskets himself in the fourth quarter, they got so close. It was again within 2, but then those turnovers happened and it was over. And then you see guys like you got the Lou Dort game. He had 1 point in the fourth quarters combined of the 4 games, and he splashed 2 threes in the fourth quarter in this one. You got the Cason Wallace game. I mean, he
finally hitting a 3.
He didn't have a 3 this entire series. He had 3 in the first half. He had 11 points and 4 steals. One of those turnovers was an awesome steal from Cason Wallace, who was performing. Aaron Wiggins came off the bench to do that as well. Isaiah Hartenstein, Isaiah Hartenstein had a highlight that wasn't. Like, he had 3 beautiful passes to Jalen Williams for baskets. Then he had a no look to Aaron Wiggins, but Aaron Wiggins dropped the ball. So it's not going in the highlights.
He also had a rebound highlight.
Which one was
I thought Hartenstein's one-handed rebound that he grabbed pretty
sweet.
late. He was like getting held with his one arm was behind his back.
Yeah.
The do-si-do.
Yeah, I still got it. We love a rebound highlight here.
That was good.
Yeah, and then they called the foul on whoever was holding him. I guess it was
Tony?
Bradley.
I think it was Tony.
But Bradley let him go before Hartenstein shot it. Anyways, confusing. All confusing.
But everybody contributing.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
The defense was what won it. But we're all going to talk about Jalen Williams. But I thought Dagnall was ready, even for Tyrese Haliburton, to allow switches to happen, just to have somebody in front of him at all times. And that's a little risky because you might have a big in front of him. He did. Or another guard. But they just were able to get there. This was their best defensive game. They were just scrambling so hard, even when they had to switch, even when bigs were on them. They stayed in front of Haliburton.
Let's talk about Haliburton. Obviously, a bad game. 4 points, 7 boards, 6 assists, 3 turnovers. He played 34 minutes. He missed all 6 of his field goal attempts. Now, he insisted, by all accounts, on playing in the second half after injuring or re-injuring, if you want to say that even, that sore right calf. They were showing us that clip that appeared to be the one where he really did hurt it again,
really
sort of pushing off as he went down. Yeah, but he was limited, so then TJ McConnell stepped up in the third quarter, 13 of his 18 points, just like getting into the paint time after time after time for that little jumper that he gets or kicking it out to guys. But then, interesting decision, I thought, Trey, from Carlisle, where early in the fourth quarter, McConnell had just created a 3 for Siakam, but on the following possession, I think McConnell traveled. He got caught, violation, was shuffling the feet inside, and it was soon after that, or maybe right after that, Carlisle sort of took him out, and he said, I thought he was just gassed. He was fatigued. But now you sit and we play, Tuesday morning quarterbacking here. Should he have maybe run with a fatigued McConnell over an injured Haliburton, and does he regret that decision here this morning?
I don't know. It's interesting that you say he should have gone in for Haliburton, because I'm like, maybe he should have gone in for Nembhard. And that's kind of the tough thing. It's like, who does TJ McConnell sub in for? He did carry the team in the third quarter. I don't think there's another player in the league who shoots fadeaways from less than 10 feet. But that's TJ McConnell's go-to shot. That was awesome to see. The spin move was beautiful. But Nembhard didn't play a great game. 7 points on 3 of 8 shooting. Had more turnovers than assists. Obviously, Haliburton was hampered. Plus, the Thunder defense was all over him. So you add it up together. He wasn't even able to get a shot up. I don't know. I mean, Mathurin wasn't doing anything in the fourth quarter either. He got a little bit of a look, so I know they want Nembhard out there for defense. He wasn't really doing much defensively. They want Haliburton out there for offense. He wasn't doing anything offensively. So who are you pulling there is kind of the thing. TJ had it going, though. He should have at least gotten a little bit more of a run, I think, in the fourth quarter, just because he's given the Thunder problems. He can get in the lane at the very least. Yeah,
I think he checked out like at the 10:50 mark in the fourth, and we didn't see TJ McConnell again until like 3.5, 3:25 left in the game. So there was a chunk of time there where he was like, hey TJ, you go balls to the walls when you're out there. So you need to rest up, man. We're gonna need you back. But maybe did keep him too long. That's a good point about him maybe playing over Nembhard, who yeah, that was a really bad Andrew Nembhard game. Like some of those turnovers. Now that's like the pressure is getting to these guys.
Yes.
I mean, they're panicking and there's no passing lanes, and then it looks like they're just throwing it away. But that's just this an electric defense just up out on them.
Yeah, and some guys were able to recover after those turnovers. Like Pascal had 3 in the first quarter. Maybe one was from an Isaiah Hartenstein yank of his back. Who knows? It's hard to tell. He had 6 turnovers overall, but that fourth quarter of his was what brought the Pacers back to really get close. So some guys recovered after a terrible turnover game. I couldn't believe that there's 22 turnovers. I know that they kept on turning it over, but to see 22 and still be close.
It was a 2-point game.
Yeah. I mean,
it really was. It was impossible not to be watching it going, oh my God, how? They've been completely outplayed in this game and they've got it to 2.
Yeah.
Here they go again.
And some shots are just like Obi Toppin. They keep relying on him. He keeps on performing, but he had some rattlers in this one. 1 of 5 from 3 that just rattled in and out a couple of them. And the Benedict Mathurin obviously didn't perform in this one either. 2 of 11.
Nick Anderson.
Yeah, a little bit. He had the one good game.
Well, also, Nick Anderson missed a whole bunch of free throws at the end of the game, and kind of his career was over after that.
Oh,
I'm not saying it's going to happen to Ben, but he missed a ton of free throws at the end of Game 4 and looked like it was affecting him in Game 5.
The only thing I'll say for Game 5 for him, at least, he was attacking the glass and he was, helping them out there. I thought at one point in this game, their rebounding, their rebounding was keeping them alive.
Yep.
Like for that one stretch where it was getting out of hand, but they were just getting more possessions, and that was, they were turning it over a lot, unfortunately, but that was helping them. So he at least contributed there. But yeah. Really, like, besides Siakam and TJ McConnell, tell me who played well. Who had a good game for the Pacers? It wasn't Haliburton.
Obi's probably like the 3rd best guy.
And it wasn't even lights out. So
yeah, we'll get to Nesmith's putback dunk soon. He contributed as much as he could, but the offensive rebounds you mentioned, that was really important that to just get them back to just keep that fighting going. Because again, that first quarter, I just thought they were done. But this Pacers team never dies. Yeah. 18 offensive rebounds for them.
And they got out offensive rebounded is the problem.
Yeah.
19 for the Thunder. Like, that's where Hartenstein was massive. Yeah. Chet was pretty big as well. Like, Lou Dort was scrapping it out, getting his offensive rebounds. So winning the turnover battle and then barely winning the offensive rebounding battle, like, that's a perfect recipe for the Thunder, especially if you're going to hit your threes playing at home.
Yeah. And what did you think about Haliburton? Because the whole talk at halftime, like from obviously the ESPN crew or ABC crew, was like, what do they do here with him? Do you just sit him down and rest up for Game 6? And obviously, we did see TJ McConnell a little earlier than normal in the third quarter. Then that was incredible. Looked like a brilliant move from Carlisle, but then he went away from him. Yeah. Like, what was your opinion on that and the injury and where they go from here?
Yeah, I thought Haliburton had missed some opportunities to get a little bit more aggressive. Like midway through the third, Lou Dort was out on him. In a lot of space. That was the opportunity to go left, right. There was nobody setting a screen. You have opportunity to do it, and they just passed to Mather and said, "Go at Aaron Wiggins." Again, just pointed. That's who you go for. So he could have been more aggressive. I have no idea what's going on with the calf. I'm glad that it is below the knee, because after Game 2, when they said it's lower leg, I thought that's below the knee.
You're right.
I couldn't settle on. I'm not a doctor, but it's great to see that. As far as the halftime conversation goes from ESPN, I like Malik Andrews the best. Stephen A. Smith said he's got to sit and rest Game 6, and she said, "This is Game 5 of the NBA Finals. I don't think he's sitting." Stephen A. Smith, full name.
He's got to rest Game 6.
Wow, Game 6. Yeah,
no,
it's weird.
You're saying he was saying he needs to rest for the second half of Game 5 for Game 6.
Yeah. That makes no sense.
Come on, bro.
Haliburton after the game says basically what she was saying. It's the finals. I've worked my whole life to be here, and I want to be out there to compete, help my teammates any way I can. I was not great tonight by any means, but it's not really a thought of mine to not play here. If I can walk, then I want to play. This is what Haliburton said, end quote on that. Now people say, well, yeah, of course, all players, all competitive guys are going to say that. It's up to the coaching and the medical staff, and maybe you do save him from himself. There was worry that he could re-injure it, make it worse. We saw that once upon a time with Kevin Durant back in the day. So there was that concern. I thought when he was out there, though, it wasn't like, glaring that he was like dragging his leg around. I also think the guy's just in the torture chamber right now, and that sucks. And then now you have an injury on top of that. Good luck, because Dort has shut down every guy here in this postseason. Desmond Bane, who just got traded, go check his stats in round 1. He did dick all against Dort. Dort had a good series against Jamal, good series against Anthony Edwards, and he's having a great series against Haliburton. But hopefully having, what do we got here? Like, I don't know, it's like under 60 hours, I guess, until game 6, that he can rest up a bit, Trey, and give it a little bit more of a go in that game.
They need more from him,
Yeah.
even if he's banged up, which clearly he is. It looked like he was able to run forward fast. Like when he could get ahead of steam, he was running fine, but maybe the change of direction and the burst, like going from standing still to going by somebody, that certainly wasn't there. It felt like Haliburton was just doing line dancing side to side the entire time in the second half. And I thought that was kind of the problem for the Pacers. Nobody was able to get the ball inside. A lot of it is Dort, but a lot of it is like the mental game of it as well, right? Like Haliburton wants to pass. He knows he's got Dort all over him. He's got his leg bothering him. There's a lot going on. So there are shots certainly that he could take, that he could force up if he wanted to, but that's not how he plays. He's got his mind concerned with other things, just trying to get through the game. He looked like he was processing too much rather than just playing.
Yeah.
And they were obviously doing a great job again of switching, staying in front of him, and just being the great Thunder defense that they are and forcing him to pass it. On the other side, Isaiah Hartenstein sat after 51 seconds in the second half, even though he was awesome the first half. He obviously had some sort of thing going on with his lower leg too. How low it was, I couldn't tell you as a non-doctor, but he bumped into him in the first half, and he went back to the locker room.
Who was that? Was it?
It
Wasn't
was
Siakam? I don't think. Yeah,
I'm
it
not-
must have been Turner.
I think it was Turner, and he was sagging. He came back and played a little bit in the second half. Everybody's banged up. So as you said, when he was out there, Haliburton, I'm talking about again, he looked all right. I mean, he didn't look like he was limping.
Sometimes I thought sometimes he was limping, but in general, he could have taken more than one shot in the second half if he's going to play the most minutes of anybody in the second half.
Yeah, and I think that's, again, to go back to, like, if he's only going to take one shot in the second half, then maybe you do have to, the coaching decision is, maybe we go to the guy that is, like, brought us back in this game and we lean on him more, and it's just one of these funky games we try and pull out again, and it's not our star. But that's a tough decision. It is your star guy. It's your all-star. He says he wants to go. I think that does send a bit of a message to the rest of the team too. Like this guy is fighting through this, and let's go. And
he's hitting big shots in the fourth quarter of the entire playoffs.
Yeah.
We're pulling you now.
Right. But this stat is it's a telling stat, at least here in the postseason. Pacers now 6-7 when Haliburton scores 20 or fewer points. They're perfect when he scores 20 or more. They're 8-0. So I guess that's a stat to watch in game 6 if we have the potential of a game 7.
And I thought the Pacers were finally going to lose a game where they scored 110 points because they've won every single game. They've won every single game. Yeah, they got to 109 when Johnny Furphy hit a basket and one. He went to the free throw line. I made a note. Oh, they lost when they scored 110, but he missed the free throw, so only 109. Oh,
Furf.
Tough one, Furf.
Was there one of the particular live ball turnovers during that thunderclap that jumped out to you the most, TK? Because it was Haliburton and Nembhard with the sloppy play, or again, the great defense, but was there one more than the other? You were like, ooh, ah.
Okay, I thought the killer was before the real thunderstorm started, was when it was a Nembhard turnover. He's trying to get the ball back to Haliburton. He just throws basically an outlet pass for Case and Wallace.
Yeah.
It was like, that was a couple of possessions after Siakam had hit the 3, so it went from a 2-point game to suddenly a 7-point game with all the momentum now on the side of OKC. But my favorite one was going to be one of my random notes. It's when Caruso gets the steal at half court. Somehow, Siakam is ahead of him, and he swims on the court to grab the loose ball, and it ends up being a layup for the Thunder.
That was an awesome steal.
Was crazy.
And it sort of got overlooked because of all the other crap that was going on. That steal was insane. He like slid so far. A good way to call it, like a swim job to get to it. Like, it was one thing for him to get the steal, but then you're like, okay, well, they're not going to get it.
No, Siakam had
So
a
now he
step on
comes
him
up
for
with
sure.
it, and then he gets the ball, and they even have the possession. That one was crazy. What a game. What a game. What a defense. They're just elite. They're just unreal. And like, it's so funny. You even get by maybe the first line of defense, and then it's like, you have to like, okay, now I got to go around Chet Holmgren and his long ass limbs. Like there was that one time where Haliburton finally got to the free throw line. The amount of work he had to put in to like just draw those free throws on Holmgren, who was playing him well. Obviously, he's got a lot of length. Like that, he just had to put in so much effort just to even get to the line. So, yeah.
Chet was monstrous.
He was great.
And I know
he's been awesome in back-to-back games here.
He has been. He keeps on him and Miles going at it. Has been a great matchup to watch. 3 blocks in this game. How many altered shots as well? Just making sure that Indiana couldn't score inside, and they couldn't. I mean, they couldn't score in 2-point land. A lot of it, Chet, no doubt.
Any other basketball notes before we can get into some fun random notes? And we do have that Nesmith dunk that surprised everyone to show you in a second. But anything else from the game itself or looking ahead to Game 6? Well, let me ask you this. Do you have confidence this comes back for Game 7 in OKC, or are they going to take care of business on the road?
It's hard to have a lot of confidence with Haliburton playing the way he did in Game 5 and knowing that there's something wrong with his lower leg, at the very least. He's not 100%. They're saying nobody's 100%, but him being less than 100% is going to be a major problem for the Pacers. They need him to really key their attack and to be aggressive looking to score, and he's got a guy who could have won Defensive Player of the Year all over him while dealing with a leg injury. So that's tough to have a lot of confidence, but they're a bounce-back team, and he's a bounce-back player. Usually when he has a stinker, he has a pretty good game following up. So ice up. Man up!
Yeah, he's got that wrap on his calf. So maybe it's more of a cramp than anything. It's hard to say, but I guess not.
It's not good.
It's not good.
Whatever it is, it ain't good.
No, it's not good.
He has time to hopefully recover a little bit. Do you believe this is over on Thursday night?
I guess. I won't say the Pacers are dead, but I feel
nobody wants to do that anymore. Like everybody's like, okay, I've learned my lesson. I don't want to say that.
You can't say it against this Pacers team.
But like you guys are pointing out, like the scary part, like other series we've seen in the postseason, is as it goes on, the Thunder do seem to get better and stronger and like click a little bit more. Like their offense definitely, like it was a little bit like the ball was moving, had a little more zip to us, going side to side. They're obviously finding backdoor cuts. It just looked better. And have they like sort of unlocked something? Is a part of that been going through J-Dub as the playmaker a little bit more? I think so. It's tough to think this doesn't wrap up on Thursday night just because I think they're getting stronger and stronger. Mm-hmm. But the Pacers have obviously surprised us time and time again here.
Yeah, maybe
they have one more in us.
Maybe the role players who play really well at home, like your Cason Wallace and your Aaron Wiggins, don't splash shots. I mean, you combined 7 threes off the bench for those guys.
Yeah.
A huge first quarter going into the second quarter. There's no doubt. But Caruso's going to be better. Caruso's only 1 of 8 in this game. And I think what's good for him is that he tried to crown Miles Turner in that first half. He tried to give it to him, a nice pack, and he missed it. So he didn't have a great game offensively. Mm-hmm. Obviously, doing everything with the defense and getting out to that OKC crowd and getting them pumped after that beautiful dive swim. I don't know if Caruso's got a swim move named after him or something, but yeah, he's doing enough. So maybe the Pacers bench / role players play better at home.
They played things perfectly with Caruso this season. He played more than 27 minutes once during the regular season. He's played more than 27 minutes in every single game so far. They started double big last night, and then after, I guess, Hartenstein got pulled first, it was basically stagger the entire time. Like you said, he only got 50 seconds at the start of the second half. Yeah. They basically played one big just so they can get Caruso on the floor more, and there's a reason.
Yeah. No doubt. And then it just feels unfair when like your elite defensive guys in Dort, Cason Wallace, even Caruso, who's had some big games, like they're not a joke on the other end. Like if they're hitting threes, like Dort's shot just keeps getting higher and higher and keeps going in. Like the guy keeps hitting threes. And then Cason Wallace, that was the big one. I think coming into that game last night, I saw a stat like Cason Wallace and Chet Holmgren had shots. They had missed 17 of 18 catch and shoot threes.
Yeah, that's
through
true.
the first 4 games. And then within that game, Chet had one. Obviously, then Cason Wallace had a couple there. Yeah. All of his are obviously going to come off of catch and shoot situations. So, you know, it's not really fair when those guys are hitting. So you're going to have to hope if you're a Pacers fan that they go back to missing probably in game 6. But we'll see.
And they got to hope to get something from Miles Turner. Because I'm like, Chet Holmgren's not shooting the ball well. Like he was 4 for 15 last night. He's not playing great offensively. Every time he dribbles, if he gets to a second dribble, it's a spin move. And guess what? The Pacers know it. They're able to deflect it down low. But he still has the confidence to try and make plays and to take open threes. And Miles Turner looks like he does not want the ball for the majority of these games.
Yeah, he's in a bad series.
Yeah, and they're giving him shots. Like that's part of the game plan is like we're going to be up on everybody else. Somebody's going to be open. It's going to be Miles Turner, and he's thinking about it every time.
They've never needed a game more to give us a game 7 than Miles Turner hitting 3 or 4 of those above the break threes, or maybe off the pump fake and reset. Like he needs to see the first one even go in, and then you're like, oh, okay, maybe it's one of those games. He's a little streaky that way. So
he's got to take it.
He does. He's got to take it.
Passed up that first one right to start the
game. He's absolutely in his head that he has no confidence right now in his shot. All right, let's get to some random notes. Let's start with the Aaron Nesmith toe tap before we get to the big dunk. I loved how excited Doris Burke was on the call, illustrating and showing us great slow-mo shot of how he does a little toe tap with his right foot there before he lets the three-pointer go. And I was like, oh, that was good. That was a nice little attention to detail there from Burke and the crew, and it sure enough is a thing he does.
I think he's just trying to sell his New Balance shoes. Hey, look at this balance on these shoes.
Yeah, they're like, New Balance is like, hey, Nesmith, I mean, you had an awesome game there against the Pacers. You've been really good all postseason. We're trying to move some inventory here. We got this great colorway. Think you can do anything before you shoot a three? Get some eyeballs on the shoe? Yeah, let's try a toe tap.
Nice replay.
Yeah.
It's a little like a batting stance. I feel
Yeah,
like to make it unique, like Gary Sheffield had like the little tap downs. Joe Morgan was doing his arm. We should see more of this kind of stuff. Though I do think it probably makes you more likely to step on the 3-point line on accident if you're resetting your feet. And as a guy who steps on the 3-point line on 50% of my attempts, I'm a little nervous.
I was just going to ask you, man. You step on the 3-point line more than anyone I've ever played.
100%.
It's
Every time I
unbelievable.
play, I step on the 3-point line.
I think 50-50 is very fair. It's like, oh, he's either on it or he's not. But he's generally very, very close. That's a good thing about you.
Do people call it out? Do people say like you hit a shot?
Instantaneously.
And every time I'm like, yeah, probably. Yeah, I probably did.
I don't even, when Trey is lining up for a 3-point shot, if I'm playing against him, I'm immediately looking at his foot. Now, I'm not going to lie. I won't lie about it, but more times than not, he's on it. And you get to yell out, one! It's only one. I'm playing 2s and 1s.
Maybe that happened to TJ McConnell, too, because he did step on the line for his one 3-point shot.
Yeah.
You know he takes his time, as
Yeah.
Richard Jefferson points out in the broadcast.
Lining it up. Oh man, when they did the slow-mo replay of TJ taking a wide open 3 from the top, it was like a 15-second clip. They put it at like 0.75 speed. You're like, what? Are we watching a Coach Nick breakdown of his shooting mechanics?
Let's stick with Nesmith though, and we've alluded to it a couple times. The crazy out of nowhere putback dunk.
Yes.
Over Chet Holmgren.
And speaking of slow down, I had to slow down this video because Chet Holmgren kind of looks like he's possessed for a second, right? It's like the spirits enter his body because his eyes go to the back of his head.
Like the Undertaker,
yeah. So I just froze it here. While I was watching the game, I thought, whoa, there must be like 6 replays. It's got to be spreading all over the internet that he is possessed in this video. But really, it's just that one clip, and you kind of have to stop it. But it looks like there's a spirit that's entered his body. But it's just Nesmith going over top of him with 2 minutes left in this game. What a huge putback, but it kind of just went under the radar.
Yeah, nobody knew he dunked it.
Yeah.
Like, Breen didn't know he dunked it. Burke had to point out, I think he got that one in. I think he converted that. And was like, oh, even it felt like some of the players on the floor were even like, what the hell just happened? Did it go in?
So fast.
Yeah.
And he didn't touch the rim at all, did he? It was almost like a perfect swish from above the rim with his forearm. That was a crazy play.
Yeah, just offhand on Chet's shoulder a little bit to pump him up a little bit.
Cool. Well, my favorite part is after that dunk and after the confusion, you can hear, they must be sitting right behind Breen and Burke and RJ. You can hear somebody in the crowd go, where did he come from? You can literally make it out. Somebody just goes, where did he come from? It's like, holy crap. Yeah.
Good question.
We already talked about the rebound highlight from Hartenstein with the one-armed offensive board. The other great play, or weird play, I guess is a better way to put it, early in the game, like 2 minutes into the game, Chet Holmgren, that weird like layup where he like had his back turned and he flipped it over his head.
That was nice.
That was nice, but weird.
Yeah. Backward shot.
For a 7-footer, it's like one thing when a guard does it, you know what I mean? But for like a guy that big to turn his back because he's like trying to prevent from getting blocked, and he flipped it in.
Yeah,
great shot.
That's a beauty. Also, a great moment. You guys may have not seen it. Red Panda performed at halftime.
I did see it making the way around the internets.
5 bowls on her foot. At one time, she's able to put 5 bowls onto her head.
She nailed it last night. It sounded like there was no drops.
Standing ovations, I think, from the crowd, or at least I did.
From the GOAT.
She was killing it. She killed it.
She's had a real, like she was the GOAT.
Yep.
Sort of immediately, everyone's like, this is the most insane halftime performance. And then I felt like, I don't know if she disappeared for a while or we just moved on to other things. I know she did have a period of time where the bowls were dropping. I got on her case. People got very upset with me. But I swear, like, she's back.
Oh, she is.
She really is.
She's recovered.
Yeah. So good for her.
Great story. Great comeback story.
This was a fun, you saw this image going around last night on Twitter when McConnell was like bringing the Pacers back, that takeover in the third quarter. You know, at one point he went to the free throw line and people were saying, look at the comparisons to the locked in LeBron James catching his breath hunched over. we're going with TJ. So I just did the split screen here for everyone, but great similarities.
TJ and LJ.
That's right.
Both playing like MJ.
That's right. That's right. So just fun stuff. And then my final note, and I know you had the video on your Twitter account, TK. I did not have Tony Bradley fast break attempt / Euro step attempt on my bingo card last night.
Didn't work out.
Didn't work out, but did not even think it was going to be attempted. That was ballsy.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Bradley was back. That was a surprise to me to begin with. Hadn't played since the Knicks series after the injury. They weren't trusting Thomas Bryant, so somehow, I think it's Mathurin passes him the ball basically at the opposing three-point line, and Tony sees nobody in front of him. I might as well handle it. Tried the Euro step. I think you could probably just go up on the guy who's 6 inches shorter than you, but cool move. It was fun to watch.
I was reminded last night watching this game, and maybe it was because of Tony Bradley trying a fast break Euro step. Remember we were told Jarris Walker was only going to miss like the first, I feel like they told us first 2 games. Maybe.
They said first 2 for sure.
For sure. Yeah. And, unfortunately, I haven't seen him at all. And I do think there would have been a place for him, a healthy Jarris Walker, at least for some spot minutes.
Yeah.
To get in there.
They need somebody.
We haven't seen him. So
I don't know if it happens in game 6, but nobody thought Tony Bradley would be out there in game 5.
No. Hey, if it's the finals and you can walk, you can try and play.
That's right.
I also liked Pascal Siakam after this was in the fourth quarter, about 10 minutes in. I think it's Haliburton knocks the ball out over the top. Chet Holmgren's trying to rebound as well. Thunder want to replay instantly, but Siakam knows the ball is off Haliburton, so as John Goebel, the official, is holding the ball, Siakam's like trying to steal the ball from him to try and inbound it before the Thunder could call for their review, but Goebel wasn't having any of it.
Yeah. And then
but that was hilarious because then we go and review. This is the one where they go and review it.
They gotta,
The Thunder
were right.
Yeah. But then they just threw the ball away to Siakam for a fast break dunk.
Turnover.
It was like that was a complete waste of time.
Should have let it happen.
And we got a replay of John Goebel not giving the ball to Pascal Siakam because they want to say, hey, this is what referees do now.
We brought this up. Earlier in the postseason.
The pause.
Yeah. They give him 3 seconds.
Yeah. Like,
you think we blew it?
Too much time. So, any other notes?
Well, just Isaiah Hartenstein not fighting TJ McConnell, I thought was a very sportsmanlike moment where TJ McConnell gave him a hard foul. Isaiah Hartenstein popped up, and it looked like it's ready. We're ready for blows. But they just shook hands.
Yeah, he dapped him up.
Yeah, cool.
It's like good hard foul.
Yep. Yeah, and TJ McConnell, everyone assumes, probably said, yeah, it was just a foul, man, or I didn't mean to hit you. I just wanted a clean foul kind of thing, or whatever he said.
And it wasn't. It was nothing.
No, it was nothing. But we saw Hartenstein. Who did he get into somebody's face a couple days ago? And maybe it wasn't the finals. Maybe I'm thinking of the Knicks. Maybe, I don't know. But Hartenstein.
It all blends together. But he got
into somebody's face. There was a technical called on it.
There was.
Yeah.
What do you think about Rick's technical last night where he was livid that Nembhard got fouled by Dort on that one?
Yeah, I think he had a valid beef.
Yeah.
The low body to body from Dort, like he did a good job of pulling his hands back for sure, but by doing so, he thrust his groinal region into Nembhard, I thought. But I mean, we'll get into Rick Carlisle later. We'll sauce those nugs later.
Okay.
Yeah. One other thing I think Carlisle may have been mad about, as I slipped it in, that Pascal Siakam, he was driving 3.5 minutes into this game, his second turnover, he just kind of lost the ball. Hartenstein looked like he yanked him. Looked like he put his hand on Siakam's back, and Carlisle was mad about everything. But he had things to be mad about. I mean,
he did.
Yeah.
We also did have a Rick spit last night.
Oh.
Yeah, back turn though. I didn't grab the clip because I was like, it's not that great. But he definitely turns around and hawks a loogie into his cups. Yeah, so I don't know what do we have? Is that like it's got to be his 3rd or 4th on camera spit of the finals, I think.
Oh, definitely. Easily.
It's at least his 3rd.
We got to go back and watch the tape.
He's had a couple early.
Every time Rick Carlisle spit during the NBA finals. Might be a great clip, actually.
Honestly, it'd be a pretty good clip.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, we haven't had a wedgie in 53 days.
Yeah.
Remember wedgies?
We almost had one last night. Was it a block one, I think?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it got there. It got close. But it obviously didn't stick or anything. I think it was a Holmgren play, bang, bang inside, and it sort of almost wedged in there, but fell right out. But wow, 53
been
days.
a long time.
Is this the longest we've ever gone without a wedgie?
I don't know.
What obviously when basketball's being
could
played, I think it might be.
Possible.
That's long.
Esh is seeing them right now because he's putting all 48 of the wedgies of the season
Hey.
together.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
make sure you share the wedgies with your friends after Esh puts it up on
great.
after we get it up there. But yeah, I'm checking quickly how many we've had in the playoffs in the past to see if there's a a longer span.
But you
it's
said
hard
we
to
usually
figure out.
have a little more than how many we've had this postseason. We haven't had one since the first round, then, is what you're saying. I think.
Yeah, John Conchar was the first.
Yeah,
John Contra.
I think
Yeah, we usually have more.
Have we only had one? Did we have one in the play-in, maybe?
Nikhil Alexander-Walker, that's the second one, right? That's Minnesota versus
Lakers, April
19th. That's the playoffs. So we've had two.
We've had two.
I think that's the all-time low. Tie for a low.
Yeah,
anyways.
let's hope for a Game 6 wedgie. Let's talk it into
big
existence.
That'd be huge.
Okay, let's keep talking about the finals here and a bunch of other things. Let's play true or false. Okay, first one. This is fun. Ahead of Monday night's Game 5, ABC aired the player introductions of the starting lineups for both the Pacers and the Thunder. This caught me by surprise. This was the first time they had done so at the finals since 2013. It had been 12 years since we've just shown you the player introductions. Now, this was fun because a lot of us were like, we were begging for this. Come on, make it feel like the finals. They finally did. So true or false? TK, we'll start with you. ABC needs to keep airing the NBA final player intros.
This is an easy true. This was an easy win for the NBA last night to just show us guys running out. Hey, what's up? Let's hear your song. Let's hear your pregame video. It was awesome to watch. I was watching with my buddy John. He's a huge sports fan. He had no idea that they hadn't shown the intros for the past 12 years. And he's like, why don't they show the intros? This is getting me hyped. I'm like, exactly. Everybody loves it. It's so cool. You see Rumble the Bison from up top. It felt like turning on a video game and you're getting ready to play in the NBA Finals. This was cool to see. So, yeah, I think they got to keep doing this. I'm sure it cuts into one ad break, but suck it up.
Yeah, I thought
this was sweet.
I was wondering if anyone was going to swerve on this and say false because they would have preferred to have watched another State Farm commercial. Yeah, Tass, I assume you're a true loving this.
Yes. Tell the story.
Yeah.
I mean, for the director, the producer, you see that we're watching here on YouTube. There's a bit of a side eye from Shea. He's just waiting. That I noticed that the first time, and now I noticed it here watching second time because it's a story. It's storytelling from the director and the producer. I don't care if it's super boring. It's way better than a commercial, and I understand the ads do pay the people working, but who gives a crap? How about more about the game?
Don't worry, they
than
got
the
enough
ads?
ads.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Again, it could be super duper boring, and
awesome.
Shea is just. He's totally locked in. He is.
That's what, like, part of what I think's cool about it, to see like their demeanor, to see like who daps up who jumps into who's feeling loose, who's more serious.
Yeah.
I think that sort of at least sets the table for the game. And obviously the crowd is unreal. So
It's better than any other choice. Danielle, my wife, gets a little weirded out by the bison. She doesn't like the bison. I don't know.
Why does he have bangs, you know?
Yeah, his hair is weird.
there was a cool cinematic shot. JD, I think you have the pic. At one point during those intros, they showed just over SGA's shoulder. He was looking up at the actual, the OKC video intro before they show the players or introduce the players. That just looked pretty badass, I thought. Cool stuff.
Oh, Jim Ice.
Yeah, there he is. What's up, Jim?
Our friend Jim Ice.
What's up, Jim? Good point from Eric Nem of The Athletic, though. I know in the live blog last night, he said, quote, as someone who has watched a whole lot of introductions over the years, Eric is usually in the building for these, I have to wonder if the league gave instructions to the teams and then the teams gave instructions to the players to honor their actual in-arena announcements and not just all run off the bench in one big blob. He says, this is a thing the Bucks do a lot of the time. Like, they don't wait for each name.
Sure.
They just like, okay, they're all out there. Like Giannis is already out there by the time they're on the third name.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, but it's like an interesting point.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if we're gonna do this, don't all run out at once because it's very confusing for our graphics operator, Chiron operator.
Right,
So,
right.
Anyway,
And just another thing about it, you just promote the players as well. I mean, you just don't. Some people don't know who is playing for the Indiana Pacers or the Oklahoma City Thunder, and you see names obviously on the jerseys during the game, but here are the 10 players. You get to know their names. Lugens Dort is the way they say his name in intros. I didn't know that was coming. Thought it was just going to be a Lou. So it just makes sense.
Front Office Sports is saying they're keeping it for at least the rest of these finals.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna get it at least once or twice more.
Yep. And we got finals on the court.
Yeah, we do have finals on the court.
What
It's
else to
starting to
complain
feel a little
about?
bit more like a finals. It took until like game 4 or 5, but we got there, and we just had to keep whining about it. But they are listening, I guess.
Yeah. And video reviews have not been long. If we want to talk about the things we complain about, they've been all right.
Games have been long though.
They've been long.
Tom Haberstroh was breaking it down.
Yeah.
I don't know about game 5 last night. I don't have the numbers on that one. Felt like a pretty long game, but maybe not as long as game 4. That one was very, very long. And I just mean from like tip to the end of the game. I think Tom clocked it at like 169 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a pretty long game.
It's longer.
Yeah.
It's long. It's over 2.5.
Yeah.
250.
But it was good. It was entertaining,
Just love to
obviously.
see guys giving each other high fives, you know?
Sure, man.
Good to see you.
I almost, is this weird to say? I almost like seeing the road team more. And maybe that's just because the lights are on. So you can see them
You
better.
can see them
Yeah,
better.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
Where it gets all dark and they set the mood for the home team. But crowd was incredible. Okay, next one here. Let's move away from the finals. According to NBA insider Jake Fisher, the Heat have a swing piece that they were reluctant to relinquish in past trade talks with the Suns for Kevin Durant. Fisher wrote in the Stein Line newsletter, quote, Miami's ultimate willingness to surrender Kel'el Ware, given the Suns' noted hole at center, could be the true swing factor in the Heat's Durant pursuit. In February, it was clear. Sources say Miami was unwilling at the trade deadline to part with either of its recent first-round draft successes, Ware or Jaime Jaquez Jr. Could that change now, wonders Jake Fisher. So, can start with you here, Tass. The true or false question is, the Heat shouldn't include Kel'el Ware in any Kevin Durant trades. True or false?
I think that's false. I think you should include him. I've gone back and watched every minute of Kel'el Ware's first season. I'm not going to pull a Kevin O'Connor here, but I did go back and watch some of the moments.
Okay.
And I did think that he could potentially win Rookie of the Year after his first month where he was hot as fire. Is that more about the Rookie of the Year or is that more about Kel'el Ware? Well, I just think there is. Obviously, he's going to get better. He's raw. He's learning. But I think they should and would give it up for Kevin Durant because I think they are willing to go get a star. Kevin Durant, still a star with a big name. He would be, I think, extremely happy to be there as the number one option on offense. No disrespect to Tyler Hero, but I think he would love that. I think they would embrace that. I think, as we've said, he loves the warm weather. They've got a ninth ranked defense this past season. So that is going to work around Kevin Durant. They are still going to be an incredible defense. He is going to make their offense better. And if the piece is Kel'el Ware, I'd be entirely fine with it because it sure seems like that would be the best name.
I think the package in this hypothetical Heat to the Suns for Durant deal is going to either be Andrew Wiggins and then Duncan Robinson and his $19 million contract, then some sort of draft capital. They do have a pick in this year's draft. They have a couple future first-round picks. And then either Kel'el Ware or Jaime Jaquez Jr. I don't know where Jovic plays into this, but this idea of like Ware or Jaquez Jr., the Suns only do it if one of those guys are included. What's your take on that? Would you, if you're in Miami's sort of position, hands off him? No way we do that for a 37-year-old Durant, or we would include him?
I'm more with Tass on this one. I think if Miami has any chance of getting this deal done, they would have to include Kel'el Ware. So I think put him in the offer because it's unlikely that this goes to the Heat anyways.
Okay.
I just think that there are going to be better packages from other teams. Like, the Timberwolves are still kicking around, according to John Krasinski. So, like, would you rather have Rudy Gobert or Kel'el Ware? For the future, for sure, Ware. But Gobert's a better player. Right now, you also think about what the Heat would look like if they got the deal done. Is Kel'el Ware even starting? Because surely Bam and Kevin Durant are your front court. I mean, maybe they try and go 3-4-5 with Ware as the center, but that seems unlikely to me. So I don't see a problem with putting him in the offer because I doubt the Suns would accept it from the Heat.
If you had to pick one of the two, if you're the Heat, who would you prefer to move off of? Jaquez Jr. or Ware?
Prefer to move off.
Yeah, like if like we can, we have to. Okay, we really want Kevin Durant. We have to include one of them. Who would you prefer to keep if you're Miami? That's sort of a tough question.
Yeah, that's a tough question because Jaime Jaquez's rookie year was awesome, and then he went to the bench to start year 2, and it didn't work out like he did in year 1. While Kel'el Ware it's fresher here being in his rookie year and having a really good 64-game season. So I guess the potential is higher on Kel'el Ware, but I believe in Jaime Jaquez as well. But I do agree that he, as far as fit-wise, as far as the rotation goes, it will be Durant and Bam starting at the 4-5 if that was the case. And I'm starting to think that way because I don't know if Minnesota's willing to take that big a chance. And so I don't know about these packages with Kevin Durant. We may be talking about the best players here that are available.
Yeah, look, maybe. It feels like if the Rockets or Spurs, I mean, they've
got the pieces.
More pieces or younger pieces, more promising players. Maybe not. I guess the draft capital too. Like I said, the Heat have the number 20 pick in this year's draft. That comes by way of the Warriors. And then they have 2 more future picks that they could include, 2030, 2032. Now, I don't think it's all of that and all of what I mentioned for Kevin Durant, but maybe 1 or 2 of those.
Ware is definitely better than Hawkes.
Yeah, you prefer.
Yeah,
so you would give up.
I think he's better now, and he's 4 years younger.
He's much younger.
Yeah, Hawkes is a guy who comes in and looks awesome because he's already skilled and he's an older player. You know, it's similar to Dalton Knecht having a great first half of his rookie season as well. There was a reason Hawkes was a little bit out of the rotation this year. He's not a great shooter and doesn't just have a lot of development left ahead of him, probably. Meanwhile, you look at Ware, a 7'2" guy who's 20 years old. With the crazy athleticism that he has, you can at least sketch him out as a future starting center, whereas Hawkes is probably like a 5th or 6th guy.
It's a good point. I sort of do forget that Hawkes is he'll be 25 during next season, like during midseason. So he is a bit older or definitely older than Ware.
Yeah, who's 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can see why the Suns would want him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like desperately need a young, big center to plug in there.
I'll take anything.
You'll be asking for that, but will you get it? I don't think so. I'm with you guys. In that hypothetical, don't include him. I don't know. KD, Hero, and Bam in the East. That may be fun. It'd be fun. I can't wrap my head around it. All right, final one. Pacers coach Rick Carlisle gave an impassioned defense Sunday of veteran NBA referee Scott Foster after he was ripped by Indy fans and some media commentators, including us, for his work in Game 4. This is what Carlisle said, quote, "I think it's awful with some of the things I've seen about the officiating. I've known Scott Foster for 30 years. Full name. He's a great official. He's done a great job in these playoffs. We've had him a lot of times, and the ridiculous scrutiny that's being thrown out there is terrible. It's unfair and unjust. So, we won't know until the morning of game day, but it's possible Foster could be officiating Game 6 or Game 7. So I want to know, true or false? Rick Carlisle defending Scott Foster was a calculated move.
I think true.
You really do believe it?
Everything's gamesmanship at this level, Skeets. The guy got super upset at a 1 missed foul call early in the game to get a technical in Game 5. That is no different to me than going to the media and saying, Scott Foster is a good ref. We need to get these calls come Game 7. That's the same as freaking out at whoever made the call in Game 5. Hey, we need to get these calls going forward. So you do what you can. Rick Carlisle is a guy who likes to stick up for people. He stuck up for Doris Burke as well. Anytime somebody gets fired, since he's had so many jobs in the coaches union, Rick Carlisle will always stick up for whoever got let go if it's an unjust firing or something like that. You'll never hear him advocating for somebody to lose their job or anything like that. And then you think about Scott Foster, he gets put on the finals every year. We think it's crazy because we're like, this guy's the extender. The NBA thinks he's the best ref they've got. But he brings a lot of scrutiny upon himself because he calls the most fouls of anybody. So then it's like, look at all these fouls we can review.
Sure.
I do agree he defends people, but I think that's all he's doing in this case. At first I thought, yeah, of course he's doing this. Yeah, he wants just one call to go his way from Scott Foster. But then you start to think he does everything. He gave Don Nelson the Chuck Daly Lifetime Achievement Award because he heads the National Basketball Coaches Association earlier this NBA Finals. He just does that. You're right. He defends everybody.
Sticks up for people. Yeah.
Every broadcaster. He just respects people. So I think this is just respecting Scott Foster, full name. I think that's it. I think so.
Scott Foster, though. I mean, he's a full name guy. You can't just call him Scott.
It's not
no way. Maybe Foster, but even that feels wrong.
Mr. Foster.
He's Scott
Sir
Foster.
Foster.
Sir Foster. No, it can't be that. Tickling the ivory. All right, let's call it there. True or false? Let's hear from you guys in the stream team right now. True or false with all 3 of those questions. Talking player introductions. Talking about the idea of including Kel'el Ware or Jaime Jaquez Jr. in a Heat deal for Kevin Durant. And then, of course, Rick Carlisle. What was he doing when he was sticking up for Scott Foster?
What was he doing? Did you know that they have referee stats on Basketball Reference? I was like,
I didn't know they were on Basketball Reference.
If I put Scott Foster into the search bar,
okay,
it comes up with his bio.
Give me a good
from Magruder High School in Rockville, Maryland. We got stats dating back to 94, 95. How many personal fouls per game Scott Foster calls? How many how many free throws per 48 minutes?
Wow.
There's relative data comparing him to the others. There's home versus visitor stats. This is ridiculous.
That's amazing.
30 teams. Who's he called the most personal fouls per 48 minutes against? Of course, you guessed it. The Utah Jazz.
Okay.
Duh.
Okay.
This is awesome.
Scott Foster stats on Basketball Reference. Go check them out. We'll see if he. I mean, I think it's unlikely he would officiate Game 6, but I think it's possible Game 7 if it goes there. Again, you don't find out till the morning of. They release it at 9 a.m.
That's the
It's
catch
like
48.
it's like finding out what the waves are like out on the ocean.
Surf's up. Scott's up.
Scott's up.
But he did game 4, right?
Yeah.
That seems like a quick turnaround. Like, why would he not do the first 3 games and then do the 4 and 6 or 4 and 7?
No, I said
you know?
not 6. I
Yeah,
don't think.
4
he'll
and
do it. I think
7, though.
7's
Saving
possible.
him.
Why
Wow.
not?
It's
Because
like-
he's the best. Or at least they think he's the best.
It's like having a.
Because they're like, he's the extender. Let's see if he can get us to Game 8. See if he can do the impossible.
It's like
I'll
a
do it.
baseball starter who starts game 4 in a playoff series. He's done. Like Todd
You're not seeing him again?
Sotomayor's done. You know, he played pitch. He's done. He ain't coming back.
What'd you think of Shohei on the mound? Did you watch
I
any
guess he
highlights?
missed. I guess
He wasn't
missed.
great. Yeah.
That's what I heard.
I think he only
100
pitched 1 inning. Is
Oh,
that
he only
right?
did
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
He got up to 100 miles per hour. I heard.
Damn.
Wow.
That's
Okay,
what he
That's
does.
pretty amazing.
But he missed the strike zone. I heard.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
You gotta hit the strike zone.
Good.
Everybody knows that.
All right, so here's the deal, guys. Game 6 is on Thursday. That means, what are we going to do tomorrow? We got something fun in store. So you got to join us at 10 a.m. Eastern. We're going to fire up the tier maker and do some ranking when it comes to the past 20 plus NBA finals. I think we'll have a lot of fun with this. So join us at 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll get into a whole bunch of debates about how good said NBA finals were. So we'll do that here live on YouTube, flipped into a podcast. Back on Thursday, get you hyped for Game 6, and then obviously Friday we'll be breaking down either the champions in the Oklahoma City Thunder or getting very excited for a Game 7. So we'll see. Till then, Clever Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, Scott Foster is like the only other Foster I know. Foster's Australian beer. It's known, but it ain't that good. That's what I've heard. Isn't it true?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Just to
I
know where
don't
you're
know.
going. That's
You guys
good.
know. You guys know better than I do.
Oil
No,
can.
it's not. I mean, JD, you can chime in here. I know you've had a Foster's or two. I mean, it's not. It's not good.
That's not bad.
But you know what it is though? Like I think, Canadians with
JD's got
like
played so many songs,
Labatt
too.
Blue or Molson Canadian, like that's not a good beer when you're in Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's a completely basic beer.
Right.
Now, I think international people are like, oh yeah, I got to try it, right? I think a lot of people do that when they go to Australia. Got to have a Falsta's. But I think Australians are like, there are way better beers.
Totally. 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the one that's got a V in it. What's it?
VB.
VB,
That's a great
yeah.
beer.
Oh,
Yeah.
BB is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Race the day, people.
Gotta have a false diz.